You're listening to the smartest guys in marketing, the best show on the planet for client businesses to learn about traffic, funnels, sales, conversions, and marketing coolness. Chris and Taylor are the founders of Traffic and Funnels, a digital marketing consultancy helping you get paid clients from cold traffic daily. Now, here are your hosts, Chris and Taylor.
All right, let's get into this. I just thought I would rap for a few minutes about some of the most common patterns that we notice in our most successful clients. There is an attitude that our top shelf guys and gals carry around with them. No, it's not gratitude, but gratitude is a top trait of successful people. It's not consistent daily actions, although that is important. It's not, a willingness to accept failure as a lesson, although that is important. There are all these things that are important, but I think that the number one pattern that we see in our top clients comes down to how they make decisions. I'm going to dive into some of the psychology behind it, and I'm going to actually explain what that means. And if you've ever made a decision or you've decided that you want something and then you haven't gotten it, this is going to be amazing for you, powerful, because how you make decisions, there is a formula to it. And the people who make decisions a certain way tend to follow through on those decisions. And the people who don't, they tend to make all these decisions. They have these big goals and dreams like, I want to do $1 million and I want to do that. And then they can never follow through on it. And it's because the way they make decisions is incorrect. It doesn't follow the formula. It doesn't follow the pattern for success. So inside of success in mindset and how you think about your life, your business, your family, here's what I found. Let me give you some history. Let's go back and do some history lessons. Decide. The Latin root that the word decide comes from is CIS or CID, cis or sid, whichever one. I guess there are two different types. So we get the word decide from the Latin root CIS, CID. This is legit. I read this in a book, which means it's true. Okay. What it means, does anybody want to give any guesses as to what this Latin root word means? We're talking about how people make decisions, how successful people make decisions, the formula that they use to decide which direction they're going and follow through on it. The word decide comes from the Latin root cis, sid. What does that mean? This root word literally means to kill or to cut. It's like a violent word. Have you heard the story of the Spanish ships when they came to conquer? They burned all of their ships so that they couldn't go backwards and they had to fight. If you've read The Art of War, he talks about this. He talks about when your army has nowhere else to go, that army is going to win because they're either going to win or they're going to die. And so let's talk about identities. When successful people come in to become clients and the people who go on to make incredible, incredible results, they make decisions in a way that they literally force themselves into the only way forward is to win. The only way forward is to win. Staying stagnant is not an option anymore. I have backed myself into a corner. I have maneuvered myself so that the old pattern, the old normal, the old reality, cutting it, killing it, it's over. It's not possible anymore. The only way forward is to win. And there's something to take notice of here because what I see, and this is it's never going to change. Like you have to realize that as well. Like you can't change the way that things are. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they don't accept reality as reality. They think like, I wish it was different, and they just don't adapt to it. You can't change this. This is always going to be true for a certain amount of people. But what I'm noticing is that more and more people they say they want something, but when it comes down to it, they have other options. Winning isn't their only option. They say they want it, but at the end of the day, if they don't get it, they're okay. And you're in a dangerous place when that's your mentality. Because the real way to make a decision and enforce that decision is to remove the other options. Does this make sense? So we talk to people every day who say, you're like, well, what do you want? And they're like, I really would love to make $50,000 a month or $30,000 a month, whatever. And it's like, okay, that's amazing. That's totally doable. Let me ask you, like, what's stopping you from doing that? Like, well, I don't know how to, used Facebook advertising and I wasted $1,000 and I didn't make any money out of it. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. You can learn. There's a way around that. You can move forward from that. They're like, okay, well, that's what I would like. And we're like, okay, here's how to do that. It's you make an investment and you hop in and you come in and you learn this. And then they're like, oh, I'm just going to continue trying to do it on my own. And then you look at that person and what that person is doing is they're scared of putting themselves into a position where the only way forward is to win. The only way forward is to recoup that investment. And the people that I see dominate, the people that I see, like one of the guys that I really love in the industry, and I kind of follow what he does. One of the things I love about this person, and that I notice about this person consistently, is he's like 100% or nothing on everything. He's 100% or nothing. He's like all the freaking hell in, or he's all the hell out. Like he's not in between. And he will spend $100,000 on Facebook in a month. And if he doesn't make it, he's done. Like it's over. And what I've seen him do is he's built this business from 3 million to 9 million to 20 million to 40 million. And the dude's just like chomping up the ladder. And I look up to that because as an entrepreneur myself, it's scary to make a decision in which the only way forward, the only way out is to win. It can be scary. And we're not taught to do that. We're taught to have options and always keep, don't put all your eggs in one basket and la, 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 whatever. But, you look at guys who win really, really fast and they move very, very quickly and they go from kind of nothing to rock star overnight. Those are usually the people who are making decisions that force themselves to, they force them to succeed. I recall a story of Larry Page, who's the Google guy, a $49.1 billion net worth. You want to hear about him? So he was growing Google, growing the company. And at a certain point, he had goals for Google that were far outpacing where they were. So he had a team. I don't recall the exact numbers, but he had a team of something like 12 people or 15 people or whatever. And it may have been more than that, may have been less than that, but you'll get the principle from what I'm about to share with you. And he went out and he bought an office complex that was like 10x the size that he needed to house the employees that he had. And when asked about it, he said, basically, the only way forward is for me to make investments from where I want to be in the future and back ourselves into the corner to where we have to grow to be able to afford the offices. Unbelievable. Talk about freaking belief in your cause. The only way that we can pay for the lease is to grow to sustain it. CVVCR. Choices validates vision, creating reality. So many of you are like, I want to make $1 million. But you're making decisions like a freaking poor person. Those choices are not validating your vision. They're validating your old reality. Does that make sense? And here's the lesson. Here's the takeaway. I'm going to give you the takeaway for you. Let's bring it close to home because $50 billion is a lot of money. You're probably not worth $50 billion. So you may be like, oh, well, that's Larry Page. He's different. That's disconnected from me. No. No. False. Not. Here's the lesson. What do you want from 2018? What do you want? How much money do you want to make? Is it 2 million, 8 million, 4 million, 500,000? There's no right or wrong answer. Larry Page is worth $49 billion. Go back 15 years or 10 years and you look at how he made decisions. And I guarantee you, he made decisions and investment and big moves, big plays, not based on where he was in the moment, but on where he wanted to be in the future. He created that net worth. It didn't happen. It wasn't because he was consistent. It wasn't because he knows technology better than anybody else. It wasn't because he was grateful. The definitive, defining actions that he took had to do with his mindset, where he projected himself in making decisions in accordance with where he wanted to be. If your goal is 300 million, 20 million, say 400,000, you need to make investments now that validate that vision and pull it to you. You don't need to be waiting and kind of lollygagging around and like, oh, I'll figure it out on my own. There's nothing wrong with figuring it out on your own. As long as you're making other decisions that reinforce that version of yourself that's going to hit that goal. CVVCR. Choices validate vision, creating reality. Decide the type of person you want to become. Decide the revenue you want to make. Decide the impact you want to make. Go make a bunch of choices that validate that type of person and put you into a position where the only way forward is to win. Back yourself into that corner. Burn the ships. Like Larry Page, the only way that we can afford this lease is to grow. That's where extreme high performance comes from.